Home sweet home. The Twins' road trip is over after they went 5-5 against the Rays, Mariners, and Athletics. The trip ended a little ugly with a blowout loss to the A's, with David Festa getting shelled, plus the hangover of the Pablo Lopez injury. Blue Jays are up next for 3 games at Target Field. The Twins will have a new member of the bullpen Friday night. Good times ahead? Definitely maybe. But before we can have them, you need to get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget, hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who wouldn't buy the White Sox if you paid me. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, who only owns the Twins online. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. Maybe someday you can find more of our work at Access Twins and Zone Coverage. On the show today, the Twins are finally home, having had enough of Tampa, Seattle, and West Sacramento in a 5-5 road trip. We'll take a look at how things ended with an ugly loss against the A's. David Festa will just have to do better next time. But they're back against the Jays at Target Field, where the lights are on all the way. The clubhouse is right behind the dugout. The batter's box isn't too slippery or hard, and the warning track doesn't take up half the outfield. We're going to get to know a little bit Travis Adams, a right-hander who will make his Major League debut whenever he next appears. Cody Funder goes back down under to make roster room. Also, get to know Justin. Why is that funny? Get to know Justin Ishbia, which is we already do know Justin Ishbia, but as the owner of the White Sox, he aborted his Twins' pending purchase, but recently took steps to buy a controlling interest in the Southsiders from Jerry Reinsdorf. Why anybody would want to do that, I don't know. Did Twins fans duck a dystopian future or a great opportunity for the Pohlads to sell? But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when their first $500 bet wins.
No, $5.
$5. Yeah, you don't have to bet $500 to win $200. I want to start that business.
That's like picking the Tigers to win the division right now.
Hey, maybe you can get a good money line live, whatever. But okay, so you got to bet $5. You don't have to bet $500, and you win $200. So it's only the same thing I read every time. I don't know why. I can't get that right. But Brandon, the Twins are home, and they're not in the friendly confines of West Sacramento anymore, where I think the place got sort of mixed reviews. They liked some of the aspects, the clubhouse, even though it wasn't behind the dugout. The field is where they had like most of their problems. So Carlos Correa, who I know people love hearing from, said the batter's box was too slippery and he was getting sore. And he's like, I'm taking the last couple games off here, but he's going to be back because the batter's box at Target Field is fine. So that's good. And I think, the Blue Jays are here. It's always fun for the playoff series from a couple years ago to get more hype in the regular season. But I for all the things that are kind of iffy right now about the Twins with Pablo and not sure about Correa and all that stuff, I'm feeling optimistic. I think they've righted their ship. I don't sense a lull is coming. I think they're going to win 2 out of 3 of these games and go from there, and things are good.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to your Sacramento, things they said nice about the stadium, and how much of that was just how bad the Coliseum was. I mean, I wish they were still playing in the Coliseum from the standpoint that Oakland fans would still have a baseball team. However, I'm sure even some aspects of a minor league stadium are better than what the A's were dealing with, and their visitors especially. As far as coming up here, yeah, it's always good to be back home. The Twins have been quite good at home this year. Their pitching staff has the lowest walk rate at home, top 5 marks in many, many, many pitching statistics. Although with Pablo in tow, which is not going to be the case. So we'll see what happens there. Travis Adams slated to make his debut. Looking forward to whatever that might mean. but he does give them some length in a bullpen where I think that role could be quite valuable. Anytime that their starter gets chased in 4 innings, 5 innings, whether it's good, bad, otherwise, to plan, not to plan, having it so that you don't need to use 4 or 5 of your best relievers just to get through the game is huge. Because if we're honest with ourselves, neither Cody Funderburk nor Jorge Alcala are long men. They're 2-inning guys, maybe at most. They're not. There's very rarely that Rocco's going to stretch somebody beyond that. Jonah Bride, 2-inning guy, actually 38 pitches. That's the most in Twins history by a position player. Previous record was 35 by Willians Astudillo. So there's a fun fact for you as we get going here on this episode. But yeah, they're going to face Eric Lauer as a bulk guy. They're going to see not Jose Barrios, but they will see Kevin Gausman. It should be a good series. The Blue Jays have been playing better baseball of late. They're in a similar position too as the Twins. The Yankees are kind of the Tigers of the East, and the Blue Jays are, I think they're 5.5 out, which is right around where the Twins are. And the Rays are in the mix, just as the Royals are, and even to some extent to the Guardians, obviously. So I guess the Red Sox should be the Guardians of the East. Anyway, all of that said, I think it's going to be a fun weekend series. Toronto always travels well, whether they're on holiday or whatever they are for weekend series. Should be fun, should be spirited. And I bet Target Field will be close to, if not full.
Rich's subjects, do the people from that come to Target Field for Blue Jays games, are they from like Manitoba, or do they come from Toronto?
I think it's Manitoba. You can get to the lower reaches of Manitoba in about 6 hours. You can get to Winnipeg in probably 7.5. So not that Winnipeg to Minneapolis is some upgrade or even a destination. You're taking this from a guy who once vacationed in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. But if you are a Canadian baseball fan, you really only have the Jays anymore. And so a 7-hour drive or a hop on a quick flight to see them is a lot better than having to make your way to Toronto, which is a little bit further away.
Do you think the fans will have to worry about not being let back in Canada with all the stuff that's going on politically here with the United States and the rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid question. Have to lean
did
on
you talk to some people about this series? What did they want to know about the Blue Jays or the Twins?
How they won 13 games in a row, what the feeling is with Pablo out, and just general Royce Lewis questions as far as if he's ready to turn a corner, which I think he's getting. I think he's just about there. I have a feeling. And then also, too, if they'd get to see Carlos Correa, based on the fact that he didn't play the last 2 games of the series in Sacto. So I basically just said, yeah, until the lineup comes out, I can't say I have zero concern about if he'll play tonight. But I feel like, yeah, it feels like that was all precautionary and back at home, back in business for having the guy who had a week back, like you say.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about how the Blue Jays are playing this year. I know that Bo Bichette is starting to hit, and I know this because it started to happen as soon as I cut him from my fantasy team. So you're welcome.
Buddy's numbers are down, but he's doing a really good job. Strikeout to walk ratio, he's top 5 in the AL, and you don't want to be the team that awakens that sleeping giant. George Springer comes in. He's been solid against the Twins in his career. Seems to be having a better time this time around than recent seasons. So we'll see. It's a team that can really the strikeout differential is something to keep an eye on. They have the number 1 strikeout differential, pitching staff minus batting staff, no lineup. So we'll see. I mean, they've got some guys who are really hard to strike out. Vladdy's one, Alejandro Kirk, who's been hot the last 2 weeks. It's going to be a fun series.
Eric Lauer, left-handed?
Yes. And
yeah, that's a left-handed name.
He's allowed a 160 batting average so far this season. So he's been tough, but he's only thrown 23 innings and change, and he's been a swing man. He's going to probably, I think he's going to work as the bulk guy in this one. They're going to have one of their relievers.
Schultz.
Yeah, someone who I don't know too much about. But, maybe that's going to be the new pattern against the Twins, because we saw the A's do it. Now, the A's are not exactly the gold standard, or the green and gold standard, as it were, for Major League Baseball and how they do things. But if the Twins are going to operate with a very handedness matchup-based lineup, maybe they open themselves up to this a little more often this season than other teams will have happen.
It made sense to me, sort of restricting the how much they were going to use Wallner for one of the games. But yesterday, it was another situation where Spence is right-handed, though. So, but in the other game where they had significant left-handed pitchers slated to pitch, they stayed away from Wallner. I just wonder if he's going to be in the lineup tonight. He hasn't hit lefties very well, but as I've said before, Wallner used to hit lefties really well. A couple years ago in AAA, he had 500-600 slugging percentage against left-handed pitching. He's just, I don't know whether that has been lost. I don't know, to the sands of time or what, but I feel better when Wallner's in the lineup, just in case they knock around the lefty a little bit and then get a right-handed pitcher in there, and then you're not wasting opportunities to use him. I think I know the answer to this, but do you like him against lefties better than Larnach, who's been better this year, but is still not great? Larnach has been, like you said, better against them.
Still hitting like 160 or something.
I like to see Wallner in the lineup. I think he's better than Larnach defensively. And I think we joke about this all the time. Why don't they get more practice against left-handers? I think there's something to unlock in Wallner against left-handed pitching that would make me, as a manager, want to put him out there more often and say, the heck with it. If it's a lefty, we're going to try and get him right against them. I think it's important. I think there's a ceiling on Wallner, or on Larnach as far as that. There might be with Wallner too. I would put him out there anyway.
Before we run to break, one way to do it would be to have Wallner lead off or hit second tonight, him and Buxton, because Schultz is a righty. So you can curb that. Then you limit the number of plate appearances that he'll have against Lauer. Hopefully, Lauer's not impossible. He's got decent numbers this year, but last year, not good. And that's the kind of lefty I'd want him to face. Chris Sale, little scarier, that kind of lefty, less apt to. But if you can get the first plate appearance against a righty, and then 2 against a lefty, and then who knows what happens in the bullpen and where they get to at that state of the game. I would start Wallner tonight. I would even go Buxton, Wallner, Larnach. Get both those guys plate appearances in the first inning, Correa fourth, and then figure it out from there. But I'm not the manager. I would like to talk to your manager, though. I'm kidding.
What? Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I just watched the John and Kate +8 documentary, so I want to talk to the manager. That's the Kate haircut, the Karen.
I met him. I met John in spring training once. He was visiting Shane Victorino, a fellow 50-stater, fellow Hawaiian. So
John Gosselin.
Wow. It was quite a wow. It's John Gosselin kind of thing. He was nice too.
Yeah, it turns out he's not as bad a guy as it sounds. He's not a good guy, but he's not as bad a guy as they made it sound.
Right. Hey,
anyway,
you mentioned something about a break, so let's take it.
Boy, I tell you what, King of the Hill's coming back. But no, the NBA playoffs are on fire right now. Tyrese Halliburton doing Tyrese Halliburton things as they steal game 1 at Oklahoma City. So every single night is delivering highlight-worthy performances. Every single game, anyway. Major momentum shifts. I believe the Pacers only led that game for 0.3 seconds, and it was the last 0.3 seconds. Astonishing. These are the kind of moments. These are the kind of moments that we love, and FanDuel wants to keep you in the game, not only before the game, but as the game is going with player props, performance trends, and those SGPs, that same game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Honestly, you could be probably making money hand over fist on any Tyrese Halliburton bet. He has been red hot. You could also do Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who took 30 shots in game 1. That was astonishing to me. But also consider this. How could a $200 bonus in bets add to your excitement if your first $5 bet hits? Just something to think about. Just planting the seed. So if you're new to FanDuel, again, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. If that hits, it's $200 in bonus bets right in your back pocket. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
So we're back. I'm trying to get my dog to stop eating something she shouldn't be. So that's why.
That happens at our house too. We tried to orchestrate a dog versus dog picture before the show for those watching on YouTube, and we'll get one, but not today.
Not right now. Here's some. This sounds like the biggest Monday morning quarterback armchair. Hindsight is 2020.
I know where you're going with this. I know exactly where you're going with this.
All right, well, try to answer my question then without me posing it. What is it?
The A's are a better matchup, and that's why I think they did it. And he also was there for a full day in advance.
Well, you got to name David Festa. I didn't.
No, I know, but I want people to see if they know too. I think I saw people questioning, does it make sense to haul Festa 2 time zones over, have him make a start when he could have just waited until here? Because they reshuffled the rotation. I think it was more about giving Festa a better matchup, which didn't work, but that's how these go sometimes. But the extra day for each guy after that, there's probably some value in there. And again, if you would have had Ober start and then have Festa start against Toronto, you'd still have guys pushed back. However, in light of the Pablo issue, I have a hard time being too concerned about it, but I do see the merit to the thought.
As happens with so many of these questions that people pose about these sort of tactics, I do feel like it is a fair question to ask. It's fair to wonder. It's one of those things where I don't know if there is like 100% a right and a wrong answer. And maybe if they were like being honest 100%, Rocco might even say that. You know, there probably are some benefits to not having Festa do the travel like that. But giving the pitchers a little bit extra time to me makes sense. They've said that they've wanted to do that. We just saw Pablo Lopez get hurt. When I don't know if it was a conflagration of things where he has a laborious start against Tampa and then comes back to this ballpark where the mound is not, Zach Wheeler has complained about it. So this is not just Twins complaints. This is other pitchers. This is Cy Young quality. These are, Zach Wheeler's a dude. You can't just dismiss his thoughts. You wonder if, and Joe Ryan wonders if the bad mound in West Sacramento had something to do with Pablo Lopez coming up hurt. He's like, nobody prepares more than Pablo. This guy throws so much in between starts and uses his lower body and blah, blah, blah. And Wheeler's like, yeah, I was all arms, that day. I couldn't get my lower half into anything. I wonder if something might have had to do with that. So with all that in mind, with Pablo going down, I think it makes sense to, when you have an opportunity, give those other guys more rest in between starts.
I don't know about injuries, but the A's pitching staff has been hot garbage this year, and the mound can't be dismissed as a part of it. I mean, ballpark.
Did you see the differential between Severino's ERAs? He's, I think, 0.87 away from
670 something or 7
something like that. Yes. So
and part of it is a chicken and egg of they're giving up a ton of homers. Is it because they're bad? Is it because of the ballpark? Is it because they're, there's so many things, and they're hitting their share of homers too. They've got a decent power ball club. Butler's a tremendous player. Brent Rooker we all know about Brent Rooker. Nice trade, Falvey. But it's, I wouldn't want to be a fan of a team playing in a minor league park no matter what. Although I think the Twins at CHS, they'd probably be a better suited because, well, for one, it's their minor league for the Tampa Bay situation. But the Twins also have the better, I think, facilities compared to a lot of other places. Now, granted, they're AAA, Tampa's A, and CHS Field was built recently. That works in their favor. But yeah, knocking those two out at the same time, that's not a bad thing outside of it might have cost you your ace 35-40% of his season. I can't prove that one way or the other, but it's hard not to be like, oh, geez, that was definitely part of it.
Yeah, so I just think it makes sense to give everybody the extra rest just in light of what just happened. And, you can't really afford to have more. It does, people joke about this, but it does knock Paddock out of, is this country night? Is this Friday or is that tomorrow?
The 6th, I think. So, yeah, tonight.
It's tonight. So that would have been funny to have the sheriff who wears cowboy hats around a lot pitch on country night. But it'll be Bailey Ober, who's, he's not the same kind of country, but looks like he just came out of a forest. So.
Yeah, and that's reminiscent, or it would have been reminiscent of Phil Hughes pitching on May 4th, and it was May the 4th be with you, Hughes the Force. And funny enough, the opposing starter, Jesse Hahn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was.
Did he go solo that night, or did he bring in the bullpen?
It was a bullpen effort, as far as I recall, and that was not. I think it was 10 years ago, and I don't think that. I think Phil Hughes' good year, especially good year, was 2014. First year, I don't know, but either way, it was
the worst.
Yeah. Anyway, it was. It was quite a confluence of events, to say the least.
It's Star Wars night, I think, at CHS, right? Tonight. Did you see that? I thought it was.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere. I think that's
not going to keep the crowd down. No, because of the Toronto people.
Right. No, I mean, it is truly incredible. It's like Packers fans buying tickets off Vikings fans, and you kind of get it because they'll pay triple the face value. And so you're just like, well, I can recoup half my ticket money doing this.
Saps.
I know.
Which is good. It's a good place for SAP Canada.
Yep.
So that's where I would go for it.
Yep.
All right, let's take our second break, and then we come back. We'll wrap this puppy up.
Aha, I see what you did there talking about our dogs. But let's get on track. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a way of life. It's a ritual, a lifeline. It gets you from half asleep to fully functioning, or at least all the way asleep to half functioning in my case. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? And that's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan, a pour over purist, or anything like that, you have a roast that you will love coming to you from Trade Coffee. I took Trade's quiz, and it only took me a minute to figure out exactly what I wanted. Coffee was fresh, smelled amazing, and it ruined grocery store coffee for me in the best possible way. I absolutely love it. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off a 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE, like nice trade, falvey.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. Again, drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb.
Stupid dog. Sorry. What are you eating, Moose? Oh no, don't eat that.
This is hysterical. I'm sure this is good audio for sure.
She's eating some plastic piece of garbage. God.
Very helpful.
Moose, I don't want you to choke.
He's not, folks, he's not talking to Matt Wallner.
He's not. I'm not. All right, let's hurry up.
Yeah.
Travis Adams is here. He saved a man from a burning house in spring training. That's his big contract. He's had quite a year, and now he's going to make his major league debut as soon as Rocco puts him in. Possible long man, but also just a guy that has good stuff. He's got a starter's background that they've transitioned to the bullpen. I don't know if he's going to be like a 3-inning guy, maybe. But I also could see just how seasons go. Things get tight a little bit. You need somebody to get 3 outs. You don't want to give them to Jorge Alcala. Maybe you give them to him. So I think this is kind of an open. We'll see. The dog's driving me crazy, Brandon.
Well, here's the deal.
Exactly how they need to use him.
He's already got fireman potential. So see if he can come in and put out. What?
Go ahead. I just
see if he can come in and put out. See if he can come in and put out some fires on the baseball field, which should be interesting. Yeah. And again, it's a good fit for a team that starters have been 5 and dive outside of Pablo and Joe Ryan. We're going to see a lot of Zebby, probably still Festa. At some point, Simeon Woods Richardson is going to reemerge. And so to protect yourself against that is a wise decision. And I think that's exactly what they're hoping for here. And at least in the short term, I don't know what's going to happen when Danny Coulomb comes back. He's supposed to be starting a rehab with the Saints, weather pending. And that's a joke more than anything. Friday. So if he does today. Well, the mid next week, they're off Monday, and then they have the series opening up again on Tuesday. They could, in theory, have him back relatively quickly. I don't know if they'd have him work a back-to-back, take 2 days off, and then come back Tuesday, or if it would be, let's say, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, and then come back to the Twins on Thursday. But he's close, and that's good because he's been not pound for pound their best reliever, but pound for pound their best lefty reliever in a long time.
Yeah, I think I've said that Coulomb has done his job as well as anybody on the team. I think that he's in 100 percentile where the possibilities, the expectations are. Like, how good could this guy be? He's been that good. So maybe Travis Adams isn't long for the roster. Maybe Jorge Alcala. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this guy. He looked so good 2 days ago. And then yesterday he looked like he kind of has looked. So, but then again, nobody was pitching well yesterday, and we're not going to throw out the bath water.
Yeah, you know what? With the stadium factor, maybe they just wipe that one from his ledger internally and just say, hey, let's get you back on a normal mound and see what happens. Because, we've seen octane throwing relievers like Mason Miller struggle this year. So I don't know how much they'll care about that, but it is getting to be like put up or shut up time. Like, he has, in general, stunk this year. And the Twins don't have to keep, it's not a scholarship, but they don't have to keep indulging him with appearances if he continues to stink up the joint. So,
but they like him, and they like his stuff, and there's something about him that I don't know if he's a favorite. They're afraid to let him go for nothing. I think that's what.
And I wonder, maybe he would accept a quick trip to St. Paul, because with his numbers, if you DFA him, 1, there's no telling where you land. 2, you might be one more bad stretch from being a minor league contract guy for the rest of your career, if not at least a couple years. So, not that I think I'm not saying, oh, you should do it, because it's easy for me to say you should give up your big league role, but I wonder if that wouldn't be on the table.
I don't know how much Justin Ishbia has had to do with the problems that the Phoenix Suns are having. I know his brother Matt is the guy that controls that franchise, but I know Justin has been around. But they've been under siege. It's actually been something that was going on before they got there, or before they took a controlling interest. And sexual harassment lawsuits, and just a bad work culture, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't want in that light sounds bad.
It does. So I don't know if the Twins did they miss
Dodge a bullet?
The fans just miss something there, or is it an opportunity where, well, this actually isn't going to turn out good for the Twins because this guy isn't troubled like maybe other people in his family are, and it turns out to be a good owner for the White Sox, which is not necessarily what Twins fans would want to hear either. So he is, by the way, if you're not caught up on that news, as Dan Hayes kind of wrote about a couple months ago and suspected when Ishbia withdrew his interest in buying a controlling interest of the Twins from the poll ads, he started to make plans with Reinsdorf to buy a controlling interest in the White Sox, which is more of his hometown team kind of thing. It makes more sense for him to do so. But, I don't know if the Twins dodged a bullet there, or did they miss a really good opportunity.
Does it say anything at all to you that they chose to work with Reinsdorf over the poll ads? Like if the poll ads are being difficult, or if the poll ads are just not fun to negotiate with? Do you think there's
stuff
anything...
we don't know about? Like,
I just want to know what your gut saying.
People speculate. I mean, my gut says the same thing that it said before, that what he really wanted to do was buy the White Sox because that's where he's building his house. That's where his business roots are. That's where his other roots are. It is a better opportunity. It's a third largest market. It's untapped potential. The Cubs, on the one hand, they tend to own the city, and it's never going to be like that. But there's still a lot of hay to be made with the White Sox. Anybody should look at it, especially the way Reinsdorf has run the team the last 15 years, as a really good opportunity. Not that the Twins are a bad opportunity, or that wouldn't have worked out. But this is what he wants. This is preferable. This has a chance. He's got a chance to build a new ballpark or do something like that. All kinds of legacy stuff. It's more of a I can see why the guy wanted to buy the White Sox more than the Twins. I think it's more that than whatever the poll ads are doing behind the scenes that is distasteful. It's possible that is happening too. Maybe they're being difficult about the price or whatever. I think there's been a lot of speculation about that and not necessarily a lot of reporting about what they're doing. They're kind of keeping it tight on that end. So I just think it just makes more sense for him to do it that way. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear our music. So we want to thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night, which brings you every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale and find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB or YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Or find Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube, not or YouTube. I guess you could find it or, either or.
Either or.
For Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening, saying we will, Alexei, see ya tomorrow night. As long as my dog doesn't choke.